G'day everybody. I want to talk about the Aboriginal people and their culture and how I feel that they might feel and lost because of actions that happened a few hundred years ago. And here it goes. Imagine you were such a group, so your culture meets up another culture in a certain time, which we've all done over history. And this culture is more advanced than your culture. But does that mean they're meant to take what you have or not be fair to you or anything like that? It does not. It just means they can bully you better and do the wrong actions if it's need to be. And what happened when we started getting guns? We had the Spanish run around and stuff, didn't we? And a few other countries with their cool ass new technology to try to take over the world with it. So it's like getting a cool ass technology now, a brainwash or something like that, right? And you're going to go try to take over the world with it because no other people have that type of weapon and can fight against it very well at all. And so what happened is Captain Cook, this is when it comes to the Aboriginal people, Captain Hook turned up and decided he needed a new land, which is fair enough. And he decided he would just take Australia with force if it was need to, which is what they did in the end. But at first they connected, they got along, but then they realised that they can just take with force because they can. And so they did over time. I don't want to get into the story too much, you can look it up yourself. But in the end, the Aboriginals weren't happy that they were on their land and they weren't getting along. So instead of having a big meeting about why they're not getting along so they can get along, besides just getting kicked off the land, I'm sure it wasn't just that. I'm sure they weren't saying that you have to go all together, otherwise we're going to come in and you'll have to massacre us because we just don't want you here. I'm sure it was because it's the way we was treating the place. But anyway, I can't guarantee that kind of thing for how actions exactly happen. But I can certainly put my theory into it. And my theory is, in the end, domination just took over. They weren't happy. They probably just thought, it's just too much. They're too barbaric and it's just easier to just do this than to try to teach them and do the right thing, even though we know we should. But back in those days, they didn't do the right thing, did they? The laws weren't quite that good. That's why we're still tweaking the laws from back then, because they weren't that good. We had slavery in certain things. And so no wonder we did the actions we did, because the laws weren't right. Now, we've taken those actions. When we did that back then, we stopped their evolution. If we got along with them properly, they might have changed naturally from their selves slowly into our ways, and they even kept their old ways too. It would have been a nice connection, but we failed that. The British failed that. So how can you fix such a problem? Well, I see that you need to go back again. So it doesn't really matter where the technology was. You just need to go back. You need them to have their land back where they were, right back, so they've got a spot, which I've heard they're getting. We've given Aboriginals a spot to go do what Aboriginals do, so they can go hunt and gather. So you give that back to them, and then you allow them to reconnect again. That's what you do. That's all you can do. All we can do, we can't fix the past. We can't give everyone everything for what happened. We really can't. We can talk about it and apologise and know that it was wrong and write it down, that culture did the wrong thing. That's all we can do. And maybe take away certain things if we think that they shouldn't be around, as it hurts people. So if a culture got all this land and then put a big statue on it saying, we crush Aboriginals with, dude crushing, you'd want to get such rid of a thing because it should have never been around and it's wrong to be around. But other than that, you don't get rid of nothing. You just restart the cultures. And the worst thing about it with the Aboriginals is that we have put them behind. So when you hurt someone, and you know you've hurt them and your family's hurt them, the best you can do is try to help them. You don't give them everything under the sun, but you certainly help them if they need help and they're struggling, because we, in the end, have put them in that spot by doing what we did back in the day. That's how I see it. And it's the same thing when it comes to the Indians. The Indians have the same similar story of how they got mistreated, abused, and ripped off. In their case, they got ripped off with deals, right? Because they weren't smart. So the white man come in and went, oh, we'll make these deals and rip them off. And then they got upset. And then when they get upset, we're going to use our laws because we said we already made a deal and all that. But they knew that they ripped them off. It's all about just being fair, isn't it? And reconnect. Just like the guy I was seeing today who supports and he's talking about the voice. I understand why he struggles to get out his people and what he feels because of the pain and the loss that they feel. I understand all that. I understand it'd be hard for them to try to talk about what their people is now without going back in time and then people putting that down because they haven't advanced since. But why haven't they advanced? It's because of the problems we did. We took their kids. We did certain things. And anyway, I don't want to get into that too much because it's a big conversation. But it is certainly one thing we need to sort out when it comes between cultures and what happened to cultures and why cultures are in their certain ways today. You just think about it and you get your answer. You realise things. If you just think in a positive, righteous way. Don't think that they want land and these new generation are just lazy and all that kind of stuff. That could be true. It could not be true. All we can do is give them a restart. Like I said, if you can give them a proper land where they know they can live, proper animals, plenty of spot, and then let them figure out what they need to do and bring their language back and how they're going to connect and how they're going to change and upgrade their new ways with their old styles to their new styles. They need to get to a spot where they feel like laws are fair and all that. They should feel like everything is the same to any other person for them. So that way they can heal and move on. Can't mistreat them because of what actions that a lot of them maybe have done. A lot of them are in jail because if you're lost and you feel unfair, that's mainly why you're lost and you don't know what's going on because such a country come in and dominated you, then you can imagine why you'd be upset. Anyway, bye everybody and have a good day. I thought I'd just chuck my word out when it comes to that. I could talk all day long about it. Like I said, it's a big subject and really the Aboriginals just need to, in my opinion, before they can, they've got the voice, but you really need to refine yourself before you can put out a voice. I understand they want the voice because they're trying to find themselves. That's how I see it. So they can have a voice. They want a voice to have a voice, to find themselves. Anyway, bye-bye and have a good one. See ya. Like when it comes to their religion beliefs, we've all cultures got religion beliefs and most of them are still going today. But are the Aboriginals' religion beliefs still travelling? When people talk about the Aboriginals' religion belief, they mostly laugh of the dream time and all that kind of stuff. And really, a story is a story and a religion is a religion. And I see their religion, being a way, and it made them be them. Is why they lived on the land, still a way. You can have technology around and still live on the land and still be a smart, intelligent human being. You don't need to know all the laws. You don't need to know how to make TV. You don't need to know all that to be a human being and to live your life and to be smart. You just need to enjoy yourself in what you do. Have a good one. Bye-bye.